You're gonna do this because you got no choice. You work for me.
You keep changing the rules. You know, you're getting a little power drunk. Richard, you want to tell him, Edith? You want to wake him up?
Oh, no, I said we shouldn't do any of it, Irving. You know I said that. So now I support Richie. He's got vision. Do it heavy or don't do it.
What does that mean? I mean, he's the one ruining America, not me.
How the f am I ruining America?
Because people just got over Watergate and Vietnam, all right? And you're going to shit all over politicians again? Hey, just because you want to be a big shot, get a promotion.
No, I'm thinking big. All right, this is going to be fantastic. We're doing video surveillance. I'm doing this from the feet up.
You will never do it properly because you got too much government attitude to be small and sleek. I'm like the Viet Cong, man, all right? I'm in and I'm out. I was there the whole time. You don't know it, all right? That's an art of becoming somebody who people can pin their beliefs and their dreams on.
Hi, everybody. I'm Peter Travers, and welcome to Popcorn, where we tell you what's happening at the movies. And there's a movie that's out there right now for you to see called American Hustle. It's got everybody in the world in it, but the thing I'm concerned about is that it's directed and written by David O. Russell, and David O. Russell is right with us now. Look at you.
Hello, Peter.
Hello.
Thank you for having me.
How do you feel now that the world keeps saying, he's done it again? American Hustle is this great movie. It's won the New York Film Critics Award as Best Picture, nominated for 5 billion Golden Globes. All of your cast is nominated. This following The Fighter and Silver Linings Playbook. Do you get up in the morning and look in the mirror and say, I'm great?
That's the kiss of death.
That is, huh?
No. That's the only way I've made these movies, was by coming out of a very humbled period where I just said, you must always look over your shoulder and be wary that you're not doing bad work. And as I might have said to you when I first spoke to you, we sit in the edit room, me, Christian Bale, Bradley Cooper, and we look at each other and I say, I don't know. I think this is interesting and good. I hope we're not the only 5 people who think this. That I'd rather be that guy always than the guy that you're done as soon as you think, I think you got to stay hungry, and that's how we made these pictures, to stay hungry. How does it feel? It feels good and like a relief, because when we did Silver Linings Playbook, we were kind of not on the radar as much. People didn't know who Jennifer Lawrence was. They didn't really see Bradley.
Oh, those poor benighted fools. They know now, don't they?
There's no mistaking.
Yeah.
So there was a little more eyes on this picture, which you just can't pay attention to that. You just got to come from a place of great passion, which everybody in the cast did.
Well, you say that all the time. It's one of the things whenever I read about you, it has to be personal for me.
Yes.
So how does the theme of American Hustle, which is built around the abscant scandal of the late 1970s, how does that become personal for you?
Because to me, really, I approach it through the characters. I'm never going to just approach it through an event. And it was never about abscam per se for me, just like the Fighter was never about boxing per se, or Silver Linings Playbook was never a romantic comedy, which made my head snap to hear that, or it was never about just mental illness per se. It's about the people. And when you approach it from those people, which I fell in love with,
Cold, dark place.
that's a theme that I can relate to. These people are all dreamers in some respects. I relate to people who are dreamers, reinventors, reckoners. They're reckoning with places they've come from and who they wish to be. Those are all things. When Jennifer Lawrence says, I don't like change. Change is very hard for me. Sometimes I think I'll die before I change. I can relate to that personally, and I've known people who can. I've known people who have had to make all these adjustments and have had all these dreams. So I relate to that. And
but they're reinventing themselves too, aren't they?
Yes.
I mean, that's what they're doing. That's what we all do.
Yes, we do.
Yeah. We're saying, okay, this is who I am, but I don't want to be that person anymore. And just to set it up a little, Christian Bale is playing this guy who is a scam artist, right?
Christian Bale is playing a con artist, and he explains that that's because his father had a glass business in the Bronx, which is true. This character we're based it upon did. And his father did struggle and get taken advantage of more aggressive, cunning people in business, which is something I can also relate to personally. And so therefore he kind of dedicated himself to a life of, he became a little cynical. He said, that's never going to happen to me. And he had legitimate businesses, a dry cleaning chain of stores and a glass business, but he also sold stolen and forged art
But he's married to Jennifer Lawrence, right? She's
Yes.
this wife that he has at home with the son that he adores.
Yes.
But this wife is a piece of work, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
And he hooks up with Amy Adams.
Yes,
And she's everything, isn't she? She's
Yes.
also inventing herself.
yes. Yeah, they've met their match. They meet over Duke Ellington, who's a creation of his own elegance as well, the Duke. And they both appreciate and love him. And that's to me everything, that they have great love of that music and of certain style and of a certain joy of life. That to me, the picture couldn't be without their love of that, if they were merely cynical criminals. Does that make sense?
But it does make sense because it makes sense as to who you are as a filmmaker. I think you love all these people.
Yes.
I don't think anybody in your movie, no matter what they do or what law they break, is inhuman to you, including Bradley Cooper, who is playing the FBI guy that's
Yes.
using them in the sting operation to
Yes.
get these politicians taking bribes. Everybody's got their reasons, don't they?
Yes, everybody's got their reasons. Everybody's got a mother, a girlfriend, a wife that they tell their dream to, and that you feel, I know what that feels like if I'm that guy. Bradley Cooper talking to his mom and his fiance, wanting to get out of his little apartment in Brooklyn and not just be a functionary behind a desk, and wanting to do something that he feels is greatly just. We put in there something from Robert Moses. Do you remember he built all those freeways and parks in New York City and in Long Island?
Yeah.
And he famously went through many neighborhoods in Long Island. And if your name was Vanderbilt, they'd go 4 miles around the property, but otherwise they would go right through the property. And this was a great injustice in his family, that had happened to his family. So we put this great burning drive for justice in Cooper's character that is quite sensible. And then in the story, he pierces the veil a little bit of what goes on, and what goes on is far greater than he's even touched in the movie.
Well, you also have Louis C.K. in this movie as basically his FBI superior, his boss,
Yes.
doing this. You have Louis C.K. as the voice of reason.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. He is in his own show, too.
He
I
is,
think,
he is
you know.
kind of.
He's an observer of human folly and human contradiction. Fantastic actor and filmmaker, really. I mean, he was a great collaborator with Bradley Cooper in all their scenes. But also, the real character he's based on is a solid kind of Midwestern guy who did have those wild outer borough agents rattle him and call him up and say, let's do these things, and he was the voice of reason. And they would threaten him sometimes, as Bradley does to Lewis.
Yeah. What is to you a well-directed movie? How do you define that? Not even in your own movies, but when you're just looking at other people's movies. What is it?
Well, you know, thank goodness for everybody in the world, there's many different kinds of movies, and that just like there's many kinds of different tastes. So I respect that. It's taste. It's very personal and different. I can only speak about the cinema that I love, which genuinely has a vision, and it has what I call the trifecta of character. It's character emotion, it's music, and it's camera movement. Those three things. With a great emotional motion forward that is propulsive and a little breathtaking and a little bit ahead of me, you know, and is going to surprise me. And
it's the most difficult thing to do, I think, because we're also savvy. We've seen so much. Everybody's ahead of us, we feel.
Yes,
so
yes.
if a movie can surprise you.
It's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember what that one was, the couple of movies you saw that did that to you? When you were of this amazing puberty age where everything is solidified and you're saying, Mom and Dad, I'm going to be a filmmaker.
I didn't say that then.
You never said it.
I was always going to be a writer.
Oh, okay.
And then I came to it later. I kind of backed into it. But I learned by memorizing different pieces of cinema. Did I ever tell you that?
No.
No, just like we were saying about songs earlier. I think a cinema or a song can save your life, and has saved mine many times. You know, it's a reason for getting out of bed. It's a reason for thinking the day is not so bad. It can reset yourself emotionally. If I go over in my head mentally 20 minutes of of It's a Wonderful Life or Chinatown. I memorized 20 minutes of Chinatown, which I could still give back to you right now. That's how I taught myself
Did
film.
you sleep with her? Who's the investigating officer? Yeah.
No, I can tell you, I can memorize the sequence between when he goes to the orange groves, all the way from the orange groves to when he follows her to what is her daughter's house, her daughter's sister's house. But I mean, that's an amazing 20 minutes of cinema, and I learned everything by memorizing it. I also memorized big sections of Hal Ashby's work and big sections of Capra's work. And of course, I followed Scorsese closely.
When I first met you, I don't even know if you remember, we were
I
at
remember
the
talking
Sundance.
to you on the phone.
No, we were at the Sundance Film Festival, Spanking the Monkey, the very first movie.
I got to shake your hand.
You did, but I had made all of you and your actors who were talking, and I didn't know who you were because the movie hadn't started, and it was your first movie. And I said, you guys need to shut up. You have to have respect for the filmmaker. you know, this was what that was. And then you went on and you made Flirting with Disaster, Three Kings, I Heart Huckabees. All of these things come out, and yet early in that career, you had a reputation for being difficult to work with. Did you yourself think you were difficult to work with?
Well, listen, you have to learn from all your mistakes, and that's why I can be humbled just like my characters. You take any liability and you turn it into an asset. I would say statistically, if you take all the actors I worked with, I would say no, there was no problem. There was, but there were two doozies of issues that happened. That I was the first one to learn about viral video on the internet, much to my chagrin.
That was the Lily Tomlin Huckabees one.
Lily Tomlin, which those are private moments on the set that belong to be private part of the creative process. And I can tell you that there are ones that are spectacular, not on my sets, on many movie sets. That going back to Robert Mitchum, Frank Sinatra, all the way up to Polanski and Nicholson, spectacular moments that were they on YouTube, they would have 5 million hits of Roman Polanski destroying Jack Nicholson's trailer because Nicholson wouldn't come out from watching a Lakers game to the set of Chinatown. He threw the TV out the window of Nicholson's trailer. I never did anything remotely like that.
But it wasn't on YouTube. So once it's on YouTube, then
exactly,
that's it.
Exactly,
That's
exactly.
it. Sorry, that's
no,
it.
so that didn't help my career either, by the way, and it hurt. So I was humbled by it. By the way, I love Lily Tomlin. I'd work with her tomorrow. George and I.
George Clooney and you have made
a
up.
friendly makeup, and I'm happy to see him around town anytime. And so you move forward. Those are things past, but you have to stay that way. And I want the set to be a very loving environment where actors can take risks, and I'm grateful that it's become that, from the people in The Fighter who were nominated and did great work, all the way up to American Hustle, where they can come and take a risk and be vulnerable, every actor.
Which brings me, as always, when I end the show, to song. We sang so much before you even got here.
Yes.
But I want to know, what is that? When I see this movie, watching Jennifer Lawrence sing Live and Let Die is just killer for me, especially when she's wearing those cleaning gloves while she's singing to a child.
Yes.
You know you did, you know you did, you know you did. It's like, talk about McCartney, it's all there. So I think from everything you've been saying, that song is a part of you.
Yes, Live and Let Die.
Yeah.
I love
Where's
picking
the David
songs.
O. Russell musical?
I want to make one, I think.
I think it has to happen.
I backed my way into it.
But, yeah.
There was dancing and magic in the Silver Linings playbook, which I never would have predicted, and my great love for romance, which I've discovered. But it's never a cliche, as far as I'm concerned, if you come by it fresh from realness and from real people. Those things are real. And that's what I look for in cinema and I live for. And that's how cinema makes me feel good every day, is if it has that romance to me that's discovered from the muck and the difficulty. So what about that song? You want to talk about the music, or you wanted me to sing a song?
I wanted you to take us out in
Oh,
song.
I see. Okay,
You're
gonna
Mamaronec's own. I live there now. You came from there. I feel we're bonded.
Yes, we are bonded.
That with that.
That's
We
right.
could sit and have a slice of Sal's pizza together one
That's
day.
right.
And there's that bond. So I look at you again. I see that song in your heart, and I just need
You
it to
want me
come
to
out.
All right, okay. I feel a sudden urge to sing the sort of ditty that invokes the spring. So pardon my desire to curse while I crucify the verse. The song I sing appears to be the tin pan antithesis of melody. So let's skip all the pain and get to the refrain. I messed up those last words.
It's okay, but it was emotional.
The night is young, the sky is clear, at sentimental, at something, and
You want to go